Double, double, toil and trouble. Today, in the spirit of Halloween, my partner Scaredy and I would like to make a book. What kind of book would you ask? Of course, it's a stab binding book. Japanese stab binding is a way to bind loose papers together. There are several variations of the same, but we are going to keep it simple and we're going to make a 3-hole Japanese stab binding book. Let's get started with the materials. For this project, Scary and I decided to keep it simple. So we got 4 sheets of the printer paper for the pages of the book, and we had some pretty cardstock. So we have this for the front and for the back, and a needle, a book needle, which is a little thicker than the regular needle, and about 32 to 33 inches of waxed thread. And then you need scissors, you need a ruler, you need sewing clips or just paper clips just to hold the paper so that they don't move when you're sewing. And we need something known as an awl. An awl is a sharp implement that helps you pierce holes where the needle and thread go. So it's just like pre-drilling, but we're using the sharp implement to stab, and that's why we call this the stab binding. And we do have some glow-in-the-dark beads and those googly eyes that you can stick on. Gather your pieces of paper, all pre-cut. The way we're going to cut this, let's keep this simple. So with each printer paper that you have, you just fold it lengthwise, fold it widthwise, and cut along the creases. So with 4 sheets you have 16 pages. And assemble the pieces together and cut your cardstock for the cover. They can be the same measurement. So your measurement would be 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, right? So 4 1/4 width and 5 1/2 length. And we're going to sew along the length. And so we're going to make a template first to know where we're going to put our holes for the sewing. So we're going to be sewing on the long side, the length, right? And so it's good to fold, since this is only a 3-hole binding, there's an easy way to do this. Just fold this into half along the length, dividing the length into 2 parts. And that crease will be where the middle hole is. And now you just measure 3/4 inch on both sides and mark it off 3/4 here and 3/4 here, and the middle. And then you would also need a 3/4 inch from the width where the edge of the paper is, so that way you have a long string connecting the other stitches together. So let's mark 3/4 inch. And then we draw a line connecting all these dots. So first you need to draw, you had marked the 3/4 inch, right, on the width. So you draw a straight line, and then the dots, just connect the dots to the straight line that's about 3/4 inch apart. And now we have a template that looks like this. So all you do now is make sure that both sides of the cardstock are going the way you want it, the pattern. Lay the template. Make sure all pages are in sync, and use these clips to hold the paper so they don't move when you are sewing. And it should look like this. Now you can go ahead and make your holes. And this is where we stab. So we're making the all go down the markings that we've made. And because it's quite thick, you have to expend a little energy. Make sure you don't get your fingers in the way. Second stab done. Keep checking that you have everything in order. It does move even with clips. And the third stab is done too. Now that we no longer need the template, let's take it off. But let's hang on to the clips so the paper doesn't move. And you can come in from the back, the hole, all the way up. Now, this is a single thread that we will need. Make sure you leave at least a 5-inch long tail at the back. You just go right under this hole to wrap it around like so, keeping that tail at the back. Sometimes the tail can slip out, so make sure you keep it nice and long. And then you go all the way down or up, whichever side you want to. So let me go down. And wrap around this hole too. Make sure your lines are nice and neat. And then you take the thread and go around the edge, wrap around the edge and come down through the same hole. And you continue to keep the line straight. Then turn it around, go down the middle hole, and come out on the other side. Then you do the same thing. You go to the last hole, the third hole, all the way. Adjusting your thread, keeping it straight. And go around again so you can come out of the same hole, come down again. And when you get to this point of going to the edge, wrap around the edge, come through the same hole again. And turn the book over and you have one last hole. Go down again and secure everything with a nice bow. You can do it in front, you can do it at the back, or you can do it in the middle. I like to do it in the middle, so I'll still keep my needle and maybe I will add my glow-in-the-dark beads, which is like odd numbers. So I'll add one more. I have 5 glow-in-the-dark beads. and we tie it in a nice, neat bow. And I'll show you how earlier in the day we made the red water. So I just took a pan and I put the paper on top of the dry pan and I poured the beet juice on top. And I didn't let it sit too long because I didn't want my paper to become paper mache. And now I will provide the trick and the treat in our mini book. Remember, we have this leftover, so we're going to make a mini book. And for that, we need some black cardstock paper, something that is a little bit heavyweight so it can open and close and flip easily. And I found on the internet, I'll provide the link, printable flip books. So we're going to glue these on once we make the mini book to the book, and we're going to make a flip book. That would be the trick in the treat. And here you have your flip book. So I cut all the images and I made sure that I kept the order correctly. And it's time to glue. So I got the glue stick. I like this one because it has a purple color before it dries. So I know I've gotten to every part of that paper that needs to be glued. And the image sit either in the middle, like so, or at the foredge, like this. Since this is a small book, we could do the middle or the foredge. I think I'll go with the foredge. Here's the completed mini book after all the images were cut out and glued for the flip book. And if you watch the skeleton closely, you can see the dance. Flip it faster and the skeleton moves faster. Happy Halloween!